What if I told you that some of the most legendary roles in movie history almost looked completely different? Imagine Titanic without Leonardo DiCaprio, or The Matrix without Keanu Reeves. Today, we're diving into 20 shocking cases where Hollywood stars walked away from roles that could have changed everything. From superhero sagas to blockbuster romances, these casting choices could have rewritten cinematic history. Wait until you hear who turned down number 1. It will blow your mind. Cause. Matt Damon, Harvey Dent, Two-Face, The Dark Knight. Starting our list, Matt Damon was once offered the chance to play Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. Known for his versatile roles, Damon reportedly turned it down due to scheduling conflicts. Imagine the Two-Face transformation with Damon's charm. Would Gotham have felt darker or more nuanced? Ultimately, Aaron Eckhart stepped in, delivering a performance that became iconic. But just for a second, picture Damon's signature intensity taking Gotham by storm. 19. Sandra Bullock, Neo's role offer, The Matrix alternate casting. Believe it or not, Sandra Bullock was considered for the role of Neo before Keanu Reeves was cast. While the idea seems almost absurd today, her team allegedly turned it down to focus on other projects. Picture Neo's stoic moments replaced by Sandra's intensity. The Matrix could have had a completely different energy, blending action with her unique charm. The decision to pass opened the door for Keanu, forever cementing his legacy. Bruce Willis, Sam Wheat, Ghost. Bruce Willis was originally offered the role of Sam Wheat in Ghost, a role that ultimately went to Patrick Swayze. Willis turned it down because of scheduling conflicts, reportedly focusing on other action-driven projects. If Willis had played the romantic lead, Ghost might have felt more gritty, less ethereal. And we might not associate Patrick Swayze with that unforgettable pottery scene today. Bye. Mark Wahlberg, Jack Dawson, Titanic. Mark Wahlberg almost became the face of Titanic, a movie forever linked to Leonardo DiCaprio. Wahlberg turned down the role to focus on other films, and the rest is history. But imagine him boarding the Titanic alongside Kate Winslet. Would the romance have carried the same heartbreak? DiCaprio's chemistry with Winslet defined a generation, but Wahlberg fans still wonder what could have been. Christina Applegate, Elle Woods, Legally Blonde. The iconic blonde bombshell role in Legally Blonde was initially offered to Christina Applegate, who passed due to other commitments. Reese Witherspoon famously took the part and turned it into a career-defining moment. Imagine Applegate delivering Elle Woods' witty courtroom speeches. The humor would have shifted, but it might have been just as iconic in a different way. Sean Connery, Gandalf, The Lord of the Rings. Yes, the legendary Sean Connery was approached to play Gandalf in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. Reports say he declined because he didn't understand the script or the fantasy genre. Instead, Sir Ian McKellen stepped in and delivered a performance that has become legendary. Imagine Gandalf with Connery's Scottish gravitas. Middle-earth might have felt darker, more commanding, and perhaps even a little more mischievous. Gwyneth Paltrow, Rose DeWitt Bukater, Titanic. Gwyneth Paltrow was considered for the role of Rose in Titanic, a role that eventually went to Kate Winslet. Paltrow reportedly declined because of scheduling conflicts. With Paltrow in the lead, would the ship's love story have resonated the same way? Winslet's raw emotion and chemistry with DiCaprio set the bar high, but it's fun to imagine an alternate Titanic with Paltrow at the helm. Hugh Jackman, James Bond, Casino Royale, alternate casting. Before Daniel Craig redefined James Bond, Hugh Jackman was offered the chance to become 07. Jackman turned it down to focus on his Wolverine career. Imagine Jackman suavely handling MI6 missions while flexing those Wolverine muscles. It would have been a very different Bond era. Craig's gritty reboot may have been influenced entirely by Jackman's absence. Jack Nicholson, Michael. Corleone, The Godfather. Can you imagine Jack Nicholson as Michael Corleone? He was actually considered before Al Pacino got the role. Nicholson declined because he didn't want to commit to a 3-part saga. Pacino stepped in, forever linking his name to the Corleone family. But Nicholson's presence could have changed The Godfather's tone, possibly adding more edge and unpredictability to Michael's descent. Julia Roberts, Lee Ann Twohy, The Blind Side. Julia Roberts was offered the role of Lee Ann Twohy in The Blind Side, but she passed. Due to other projects, Sandra Bullock eventually took the role and earned an Oscar for her performance. Imagine Roberts' interpretation of Lee Ann's warmth and toughness. The dynamic might have been different, and the movie could have had a slightly different emotional resonance. 10. Al Pacino, Han Solo, Star Wars. Al Pacino was once offered the role of Han Solo in Star Wars, but turned it down. Harrison Ford's charisma and humor made Han an unforgettable hero. But imagine Pacino's intensity replacing that charm. The Millennium Falcon might have felt more dramatic, less roguish, and the Star Wars universe might have had a very different feel. Denzel Washington, Detective David Mills, C7N. Denzel Washington was approached for the role of Detective David Mills in C7N, which went to Brad Pitt. Washington passed due to scheduling conflicts. If he had accepted, the dynamic between Mills and Somerset could have shifted dramatically, giving the thriller a different tension and gravitas. Michelle Pfeiffer, Clarice Starling, The Silence of the Lambs. Before Jodie Foster made Clarice Starling iconic, Michelle Pfeiffer was considered. Pfeiffer declined due to scheduling conflicts and other roles. Foster's chilling performance became legendary, but imagine Pfeiffer's elegance and intensity shaping Clarice differently. The tone might have been less raw, more calculating. John Travolta, Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump. Before Tom Hanks became synonymous with Forrest Gump, John Travolta was offered the role. He passed, reportedly because he didn't connect with the story. Tom Hanks's heartwarming portrayal turned Forrest into a cultural phenomenon, but can you picture Travolta's version? Maybe more charismatic, less naive, and possibly a completely different emotional arc? Matt Damon, Jake Sully, Avatar. Matt Damon was offered the lead role in James Cameron's Avatar, but declined. Sam Worthington ultimately took the role. Damon's acting prowess might have brought a more intense, layered performance to Jake Sully, potentially changing the movie's impact and reception. Emily Blunt, Black Widow, Marvel's Avengers. Emily Blunt was the first choice for Natasha Romanoff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Scheduling conflicts forced her to decline. Scarlett Johansson's iconic portrayal followed. Imagine Blunt suiting up. Her style would have brought a slightly different energy, perhaps more dramatic, but still formidable. Tom Hanks. Jerry Maguire. Tom Hanks was considered for the role of Jerry Maguire before Tom Cruise took the part. Hanks reportedly declined due to other commitments. Cruise's charm made Jerry unforgettable, but Hanks's everyman warmth could have made the story more heartfelt and relatable. Leonardo DiCaprio, Anakin Skywalker, Star Wars Episode II. Before Hayden Christensen became Anakin, Leonardo DiCaprio was a contender. He declined because he wanted to pursue other projects. Christensen's portrayal divided fans, but imagine DiCaprio's emotional intensity. The prequels might have been critically lauded instead of receiving mixed. Reviews 2. Will Smith, Neo, The Matrix. Can you imagine The Matrix without Keanu Reeves? Will Smith was offered the role of Neo, but turned it down to star in Wild Wild West. His decision reshaped Hollywood history. Picture Smith dodging bullets in slow motion. The tone, the vibe, and the cultural impact might have been entirely different. John Travolta, Vincent Vega, Pulp Fiction. And finally, the most shocking entry. John Travolta was initially approached for the role of Vincent Vega in Pulp Fiction. He declined but Quentin Tarantino later gave him the role of Vincent anyway, which became a career resurgence. However, had Travolta fully walked away, Samuel L. Jackson and others might have been cast differently, changing the trajectory of one of the most iconic films ever made. So now you know, some of the greatest movies in history almost had entirely different faces. From Will Smith dodging bullets in The Matrix to Gwyneth Paltrow almost boarding the Titanic, Hollywood is full of what-ifs that could have rewritten cinematic history. Which of these casting twists shocked you the most? Could you imagine a world where Forrest Gump was John Travolta or Black Widow was Emily Blunt? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your favorite almost cast moments. If you enjoyed discovering these Hollywood secrets, hit that like button and share this video with fellow movie fans. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss the biggest behind-the-scenes stories from Hollywood. Because in Tinseltown, the story behind the camera is often just as fascinating as what happens on it.